Western North Carolina homeowners are pushing back on climate risk labels they argue don't match reality.
Investigative reporter Jennifer Emmert speaks with homeowners and the company behind the data to explore the broader impacts on property owners and home sales.
Like the bears who roam their Riceville property.
They come by and check those blueberry bushes every day to see if there's anything there.
John and Laura Haldane have done their fair share of wandering across the globe.
People around the world are the same at the basic level. We all love music and family and hugs and dancing.
The currents have always carried them back to the mountains.
This has been such a special place in our heart.
But recently, those winds shifted.
I'm dragging my heels.
Yeah, we want the house to sell, but it was hard.
Before they planted a for sale sign in the front yard.
Nibbles before it actually went on the market, and then almost nothing since.
A call to their realtor unraveled the mystery.
The buyers were concerned about the high flood risk, and we were shocked.
Confused, they checked their listing.
It's in very, very large print. We are a 10 out of 10 extreme risk for flooding.
A hard rating to swallow since during Helene, rainfall maps show between 13 and 15 inches of rainfall at their home over 3 days, and the property never flooded.
I thought, well, this is so obviously incorrect. It should be easy to just point out why it's incorrect and get the information changed.
It's been anything but easy, and Allen Tate's regional vice president revealed the Haldanes aren't alone.
We pulled some numbers in Waynesville, and we have over 20 properties that are not in a flood zone, did not flood, and have very high ratings. So I don't know why.
The ratings come from First Street Technology. Its climate risk ratings started in September on Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, and more.
We're appreciative of their work and their efforts and their concern for climate change. That's all great. But it needs to be right. The information needs to be accurate.
In addition to the Haldanes, the Le Guins in Asheville, the Schrecks in Hendersonville, and the Demerits in Pisgah Forest reached out to me when their 10 out of 10 flood rating ran buyers off. I reached out to First Street with their concerns.
Hello.
The company pointed me to their YouTube page, which explains their flood modeling. It uses physics versus statistics to predict heavier rainfalls now and 30 years from now.
It's actually simulating rainfall on the surface, how that rainfall moves across the surface, collects into streams and rivers, and moves downhill, basically.
Coupled with data from FEMA, NASA, USGS, and the Army Corps of Engineers, the model generates a score not just for a region, but specific homes. This image from our drone shows why the Haldanes question if the data is accurate. When I checked neighboring properties above and below the Haldanes, 5 were rated 1, 2 received 9s.
Well, water flows downhill, so there's no way that we could have polar opposite flood risk.
All 4 homeowners who reached out to me had minimal flood risk in North Carolina's Flood Risk Information System. First Street's YouTube explains why the models differ.
Unfortunately, that doesn't tell the whole story because those flood zones don't capture heavy rainfall, and those FEMA flood zones are not capturing climate change.
The company's dispute page says, as a rule, quote, "we do not update factor scores based on individual requests or disputes," end quote. However, they told me they'd review the addresses I shared, plus any FEMA letters of map amendments, elevation certificates, base flood elevation documents, and proof of new construction or updates not in public record homeowners submitted. The Le Guins did that, but Zillow confirmed First Street's assessment and said the climate risk feature will remain. The Haldanes got a similar response.
Yeah, their policy is not to make changes.
I reached out to a local environmental scientist and geologist familiar with area flooding. After consulting debris flow maps, he didn't understand the varying scores around the Haldanes property. The Le Guins property is mapped at risk for debris flow, but the Schrecks Hendersonville property is out of the floodway. It's why the local Board of Realtors is encouraging home buyers not just to look at First Street scores.
I would remind folks that it is a projection and that there are other modeling programs out there. And so as with anything else, check multiple sources, visit the property, and develop your own conclusions.
Even First Street admits a property ranked 10 out of 10 extreme flooding may never flood, which home sellers say is frustrating.
Something doesn't smell right.
Some homeowners have filed complaints about First Street's data with the State Attorney General's office. I also found nationwide complaints with the Better Business Bureau. First Street has yet to get back to me with the addresses I provided. You can also find out how to dispute First Street's data at WLOS.com.